guys, Jimmer right here, and today we're going to be reacting to My Story Animated. I found him doing a pregnancy test. That's about it. Alright, let's get started.
I have been together for 4 years. Our relationship has been perfect until we used a pregnancy test and found out that John was pregnant. During the last year,
weird, okay?
John started to change. He no longer called me, and he avoided me at school as well. I had to figure out what has been going on with him. So I sent him a message saying, "Did I do something wrong?" And he replied, "Listen, I think that we should put an end to our relationship. If you really cared for me, you would have done the thing that would have made me happy." I wasn't ready to break up with John yet. He treated me well and has always been kind to me. I couldn't imagine my life without him. Without a second thought, I replied to his message. "I will do what you want me to do," and that was it. I can't say that it was the best, but it was okay, I guess. I couldn't really tell. I've never been with anyone else before John. He also managed to convince me that there was absolutely no chance for me to get pregnant on the first time. Our relationship returned back to normal after we did it. I would even say that it became even better.
Dang, y'all, that was quick. 2 seconds and you ready to pop? Dang.
But a month later, my period was late and I panicked. I called John and told him that I was pregnant. I couldn't find any other logical explanation for what was happening. But he only laughed and said that I was blowing the situation out of proportion and told me that he would buy me a pregnancy test and drop by. I agreed to a suggestion only on one condition. I told him he must bring 2 tests, not 1. When John arrived, I had absolutely no idea how to use a pregnancy test. I grabbed one of the tests and handed it to John and said, "Okay, you first." He looked at me and smiled and said, "Hey, pretty face. It seems that you've got the wrong idea. You are the one that has to pee over it, not me." It sounded like complete madness to me. All I wanted to know was if there was a baby in my uterus or not. John noticed how hesitant I was, so he grabbed the pregnancy test and went to the bathroom. A few minutes later, he came out with a look of confusion all over his face.
Ow, this hurts.
Behind his back, he didn't want to show me the result he got until I take my turn and use the test as well. It took me some time. When I came out of the bathroom, he looked at my test and laughed. He said, "See, you're not pregnant. Your period must have been a little late, that's all." Yes, these kinds of things happen from time to time, but why was he hiding his test? And why did he look confused when he saw it? I took the chance when he wasn't looking and stole his test. And what I discovered left me speechless. My test came negative, while his...
Okay, y'all. That will be surprised. What kind of man gets pregnant unless he a female or like both genders at once? Like what? Is he hiding a secret? Let's see.
Turned out to be positive. How could it be? How could John be pregnant? Didn't he just tell me that pregnancy test was meant to be used by females only? Oh my god. Did that mean my test was inaccurate? I panicked all over again. But John, trying to calm me down, told me that we could simply buy some more of those tests and try again. Oh god. But what other option did I have? John went to the pharmacy and returned with more of those test sticks, a big bottle of water, and 4 Coca-Cola cans. Because, as you probably know, we needed them so that we could go to the bathroom. We tried more than 20 test sticks. Every single one of mine came out negative, while every test stick that John used came out positive.
I don't know if that's a coincidence or not. Like, what? This story, this apparently true story. My Story Animated true story. Oh my goodness. Like all these stories that they be having, like My Story Animated and Dorky Stories, they always be bizarre, y'all.
Despite the situation being disgusting, I mean, it had to be. All that urine, ew. It was still funny. I looked at John and said, "Could it be that you are pregnant with my child?" And we both broke into laughter. John even took a selfie with the dozens of positive pregnancy tests that he had. He then posted the photo to his Instagram account with the caption that said, "It looks like I don't need a partner to be a dad. Yes, all these positive tests are mine." We spent the whole night reading comments and laughing, and most importantly, I finally got my period that night. On the next day at school, everyone gathered around us and asked, "Is it true that all those positive pregnancy tests were John's, or is it just a silly joke?" But John answered with pride, "Yes, they are all mine." Knowing that everyone in school knew that John and I had sex still made me feel uncomfortable. It should have been a private experience that no one else but me and John should have known about. A few days after we had posted the photo, the cheerleading team leader approached me and informed me that the team had decided to cut me off, as they believed that it was not right to keep me in the team while I was pregnant. They believed that my belly would eventually get bigger, and I would look ridiculous dancing with my big belly and short skirt all at once. They would definitely be ashamed of me for that. I tried once and again to convince her that I wasn't pregnant, but she
Dang, girl, over here trying to be looking like one of them rappers with all that tattoos on your belly. What the frig is this? What are those?
insisted that no one believe John's lie, and that was it. As you can probably see, my life took a turn for the worse. While John was enjoying his unrivaled popularity due to his wittiness, I was witnessing my life falling apart, one piece after another. More than 2 months passed by while I refused to speak to John. Even though I was the one who encouraged him to post the photo in the first place, I still blamed him for all that happened. At first, John did not care that much about speaking to me again. He even got himself a new girlfriend. However, during the last week,
Okay, that's just messed up. Like, what? That's messed up, y'all. Alright, let's get back.
he started calling and texting me once again on a daily basis. But I never returned any of his calls or messages. I felt extremely
Got it.
mad at him. During gym class, John approached the gym teacher and told him that he will
This clash, though, y'all. The clash between the animation world and the real world. Do y'all see this clash? Let me know in the comments how y'all feel about this clash. This. What is this? What is this? What is this?
not be able to continue the class as he was feeling pain in his lower abdomen, but the teacher only looked at him in ridicule and said, "First, your pregnancy test comes back positive, and now you're having your period. What is next? Will you grow a pair of breasts next?" Poor John felt extremely embarrassed, and everyone distanced themselves from John. No one wanted to be friends with the guy who was slowly turning into a girl, but for me, I felt very sorry for him. I went to him and said, "Listen, you don't have to attract everyone's attention to be seen as an interesting person. You once were perfect in everyone's eyes. I wish you would stop acting weird and that you would return back to your old self." He started to cry out loud and said, "No one wants to believe me, even you." At that moment, the mean cheerleading team leader approached us and said, "Hey, look at that. It seems that our hormones are confused. Please be kind to Mrs. John, that loser." She really stepped on my last nerve with her uncalled for comment. I jumped on her and started pulling her hair, but the coach held me and pulled us apart. He ordered us to go to the principal's office. On our way to the principal's office, I looked at my palm and saw a strand of her hair still stuck between my fingers, while John held tightly onto my other hand. I didn't want to leave his hand. I really felt like there was something going on with him. While we waited to be called into the principal's office, John looked at me and apologized for what had happened to me because of him. He was very upset because he made me choose between ending our relationship or having with him. He even told me that he was thankful for me because I stood up for him and it meant a lot to him. For a second, I thought that he was going to tell me that he was willing to give our relationship a second chance. And honestly, I was willing to do so in a heartbeat as well. But his new girlfriend walked in and ruined everything. Once she saw him, she jumped on him and they both shared a long, warm kiss. He didn't seem to mind one bit. Once again, I couldn't stay calm. It was too much for me to bear. I pushed her away from him and kicked him in the nuts. He screamed his lungs out and fell unconscious. A few seconds went by, and he was being carried to the ambulance that took him to the hospital, I was in knee-deep problems. I thought that final incident would definitely get me grounded for life. Over the course of the next few days, John was no longer to be seen around school, and I didn't hear anything about him. I know that I might look stupid to you, but I was worried about him anyways. I felt that I had caused him some serious problem when I kicked him, but I honestly never thought that my kick was that strong. I had to check on him, but how would I do so? His phone was off all the time. There was no other way. I had to go to his new girlfriend and ask her about him. When I asked her about John, she told me, "That fool broke up with me, and I don't care what happens to him. He can go to hell." My back was to the wall. I had no other way to check on John than to go visit him at his home. And that was what I did. When I visited him, he looked even worse.
Do you see this? He looked like a water balloon. The white version of Little Bill looking self-you, and he got makeup on. What is he doing?
Than ever. However, he was thrilled to see me and told me that kicking him in the balls was the best thing that has ever happened to him, and that if I hadn't kicked him in the balls, he would have been doomed for sure. Despite that, he told me that he was totally desperate. He had lost his testicles for good. Everything finally started to make sense. John's pregnancy tests were indeed positive, but that wasn't because the tests were bad. It was because John was suffering from testicular cancer. The pains he had been suffering from weren't made up by him so that he could get more attention from people around him. They were very real. Testicular cancer? That must be the worst thing that could ever happen to any guy. What started as a joke ended as a disaster. Not only that, but also the only way of treatment for his case was the complete amputation of his testicle.
By the way, y'all, By the way, y'all, disclaimer, I'm not hating on the people, I'm just saying this because I know this story is not real, so I'm just balling out, just roasting them and stuff. But yeah, this is bad.
I promised myself that day that I will never let John face all that on his own. Despite the fact that he had left me all alone before, this was totally different. I was with him when he went to surgery to get his testicles removed. All of that worked in our favor. With his testicles removed, there was no way at all that he would get me pregnant. He feels that our relationship has become perfect and stress-free.
Alright, y'all. That's the end of the video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Hold on, y'all, for a second. As I was saying, I'm back, y'all. As I was saying, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And go to my Instagram. It's called... I'm going to put it... Once I figure out how to do it, I'm going to put it... like in the description or my YouTube page, period. So it's called, I'm gonna just put it up on the screen. Here we go, right here. See, right here. That's it. Bye.